keep this airspace as safe as possible.
According to FlightAware, as of this afternoon, more than 4,100 flights in the United States have been delayed and 80 flights canceled. We're going to continue to monitor the nation's skies, but first, weight loss drugs. They're getting cheaper. President Trump says the popular drugs Wegovy and Zepbound will be discounted. Some of these drugs can cost $500 a month or more, but now with the president's plan, President Trump says he struck a deal with the companies who make these drugs. Trump also says these drug makers are going to open up coverage to Medicare and Medicaid. Earlier I spoke, joining us rather, is the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Oz. Nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you all, Greta. It's a big day. You know, these medications, as you know, are extremely effective. People can lose 20% of their weight. The question is, how do you afford them when the list price for many folks is about $1,200? So do we have a moral hazard on these issues because folks need them the most, can't afford them? And we have a problem with them being really expensive here, but pretty affordable overseas.
You know, these drugs aren't new. So what has taken so long? I mean, one of them, at least Ozempic, I think has been used for diabetes, has been around for a number of years, proven safe. So what took so long?
You need a president who's looking around and realizes that the forgotten man in America is unable to afford life-saving medications because we're charging so much more here than the exact same product made in the same factory sells for in Europe. So the president said, go out there and literally charge me and Secretary Kennedy and the whole team to just make sure that these pharma companies knew we could not continue like this. And you know what, this is sort of stunning to know, but when you actually confront people and you tell them that you're onto their game, they're business people. They recognize that it wasn't going to be forever, that you could charge 3 times more. So they decided to come to the table. And both Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, the 2 main companies who've done all the innovative work creating these life-saving drugs, agreed to reduce their prices by a lot. From the $1,200 I mentioned earlier, these drugs will now be about $250. Well, let me put it in context for the American taxpayer. The impact on obesity is so massive. The amount of extra money we spend to take care of not just the diabetes and hypertension and liver problems from obesity, but the downstream problems, heart attacks, strokes, dementia, renal failure, all these problems are really expensive. And so if we can get these drugs at the price that we've been able to negotiate, we are within 2 years saving money for the healthcare system. Think about this. We are buying drugs, innovative drugs at a price where the companies can make money and innovate, but we are actually going to pay less overall for the healthcare system because of it.
You know, I really appreciate all the innovation and research and development of these drug companies, but I must say that I'm really appalled when a drug's been around all these years and you're paying $1,200 for it. I mean, you say they're businessmen, but there does seem to be some sort of moral responsibility, you know, to them. They don't have to make that much money, and I suppose they're going to justify it by saying they're using that money for research and development on other drugs. But this particular one, when it could do so much, as you outlined, for heart, diabetes, and other things. But let me ask you about another thing that is not included when you look at these drugs. Is they're anti-inflammatories, right? Isn't that one of the things they do? They reduce inflammation?
You're smart. They're anti-inflammatory. They also reduce addictive behavior. You see gambling drop, online shopping drops, cigarette cessation is tremendously enhanced. So there's many other ways, and the new generation's these drugs, Greta, are going to be pills. I learned today, let me share with your audience for the first time, that by March, because the FDA, Marty McCary, has a rapid process that in place, we're going to have pills available. You don't have to take the shots anymore. And these pills will allow for a lot of folks to have a gradual use of the medications, and the price for those will be $150.
All right, something like Alzheimer's, which is I read some things that inflammation is a huge part of it. And, you know, are we going, and the FDA does not have this, that would be an off-label use of this particular drug. But a lot of families suffer from other family members having Alzheimer's, and of course the person himself or herself having it. Is there anything the government is doing looking into whether or not it can be used to sort of fight or slow down or do something about Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia?
You're ahead of the game as always. So Abe Sutton, who runs the Innovation Center at Medicare, Medicaid, has a whole model in place for looking at Alzheimer's, at dementia in general, and lifestyle changes dramatically improve the quality of life, but also the progression of the dementia. And so we know that's the case. This medication, I'm optimistic, will eventually yield that kind of result, and there's studies ongoing to evaluate it. Overweight people as you point out, are inflamed. They have a higher complication rate in just about everything they do, from eye operations to toe operations. I mean, it's remarkable how much inflammation affects your body, and dementia is an inflammatory condition of the brain. So we would theorize that if you can reduce inflammation in the body, and by the way, losing weight does that automatically, so you can eat better, exercise. Obesity is not an absence of GLP-1s. I don't want to mislead people. You've got to do the whole thing together. Change your lifestyle, but then you can, if you need to, use the medications, get fit, get to your playing weight, your fighting weight, and then maybe you can use a lower dose, or maybe even get off it if your lifestyle is working.
Just think, too, in terms of self-esteem for those who don't have access to it. I mean, it is true that, I know that, when I put on a little weight, I don't like it, but, people who have had a lot of extra weight on it, this whole self-esteem aspect to it, which, I think is also important.
Well, the best thing we can do in the healthcare system is get people to thrive. My job at running Medicare and Medicaid is not just to pay the bills and keep you out of the hospital. It's to make you thrive and prosper and engage the workforce. We want America back doing things that make us a productive country. Obese folks will run into problems in so many different ways, from the inflammation you mentioned, but also the weight itself hurts your knees. You develop problems sleeping. And so all of this fits better. This program is if you can use your lifestyle together with the medications and then go back and just change the world. I mean, God put you here to make a difference. You have agency over your future. If you can get back healthy enough that you can work a few extra years, this is worth trillions of dollars to the U.S. economy. Our nation's designed on being productive and people working. This approach, we believe, will help. And the president, we have to pay him credit. He forced this down the industry, and it's working.
By the way, how is the gentleman that unfortunately I saw you rush to him in the Oval Office? I was watching the president. Is he okay?
He's doing much better. I actually just corresponded with him, so he's doing okay. One little tip, by the way, is that, just a community act. If you see someone whose knees are beginning to buckle and their eyes are going back, don't watch what happens. These folks will actually get hurt worse by the fall than by dealing with what underlying condition may have been, low blood sugar, et cetera. So if you just give the person a bear hug, even if you don't know them, guide them to the floor gently, put them, and then lift their legs up to get their blood pressure up. That, you don't have to go to medical school to learn that, but I'm sure, just in case you didn't hear that before.
Dr. Oz, thank you as always.
God bless you. Great always being with you.
Thank you, sir. People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.